Welcome to My Office Videos, and in today's video we're going to be talking about events and controls, and we're going to show you how to create your own custom events in your classes and have them interact with Windows Forms applications. Let's go ahead and open up Visual Studio 2008 and go to my All Programs to Visual Studio and open up Visual Studio 2008. I'm going to go ahead and go to File, New, Project. We'll be doing our work in Visual C#. I'm going to create a Windows Form application. Give it a sample name here like Events and Controls Example. And with our form, our default form, let's go ahead and add a button, a picture box, and a label. I'm going to go ahead and change the label. I'm going to change the label's font to something a bit bigger. Change that to 14 so it's readable. And with the picture box, I'm going to go ahead and add a picture that I already have, which is a GIF, by choosing an image and going to Local Resource and Import. And on my desktop, I have this GIF loader. And you can go to the website located on the screen and create your own GIF loader for your application. Once you've done that, you can press OK. There's two things I'd like to do right now with this form before we get involved in programming. And that is, I want to take this picture box and make it not visible, because I don't want people to see this when they open up the application. And as far as the label, I don't want the label to have any text because I don't want them to see anything in this label either. I think it's a good idea to go ahead and give some of these controls meaningful names. So I'll call this the PB Progress, and we'll give this button a meaningful name like Button Run, and we'll add some text to it. And we'll go back to our label, and if we just kind of do a select over that area where the label is, we can find the label. We'll give this label a meaningful name also. Label Message. Okay, we're pretty much done with the form. Let's go ahead and create a class, our own class. So we can do this by clicking on the Events and Controls project name, and we can go to Add, create a new class. We'll call this Events and Controls. We'll just call it Events and Controls. Now we have our class open. Let's go ahead and add a couple methods to it. The first thing I'm going to do is add a public method so that people who instantiate this class can execute this method. Next thing I'm going to do is create a worker method, which will be private. Basically what I'm going to do in this worker method is I'm just going to iterate a simple for loop. Help if I gave this integer a name. Say as long as it's less than 10. And inside this loop, all we're going to do is just wait. So we'll do a system.threading.thread.sleep for half a second, which is 500 milliseconds. And that should pretty much do it for the little wait method. In our execute statement, we're going to go ahead and call the wait method. And that's pretty much a simple class. I mean, there's not a whole lot to this. We're just trying to simulate an actual environment where work would be taking place inside your class. I mean, obviously, in your real class, you would be doing some type of work where checking a database or writing information or doing calculations or algorithms, whatever, what have you. But for this example, we just want to demonstrate how the events work. When working with events, one of the main key elements to the event is a delegate that you can instantiate. So we're going to go ahead and create a public level delegate for that. And we want to give that delegate two signatures. One is going to be an object, which would be the sender, and the other one's going to be an event handler, but we haven't created a class for that event handler yet. So what we're going to do is go ahead and create a general class for handling the events of that message handler delegate. And it's usually good naming convention to use the name of the delegate and the term event args. We're going to inherit from event args, which is a built-in class. And inside this class, we're going to go ahead and have one property, which will be a public string, and it will be called message. And we will just do a simple get and set on this, so that whoever uses this method can go ahead and call that public variable there. Now we have a class that we can use for event args in our delegate void. And I really appreciate IntelliSense. It helps program a lot easier. So as you can see, the two main pieces that we need outside of our class are the delegate void and the class that is used for the event args in the delegate void. Once you've done that, you'll be able to create an event inside your class. Now, the good thing about creating these classes outside of your actual class that you're going to be working in is that this same delegate can be used in other classes. So say, for instance, for our example today, we'll be creating a form that will have messages sent to it as work is completed, and those messages will be displayed on form. Well, you may have other classes that also want to send messages back and forth, so you can reuse these two items that we've just made. So now we're going to talk about how we're going to actually instantiate or use this method inside of our class, and it's very simple. We want to make a public event, and that event is going to be of the type message handler. We'll call this our message. And with this event, we also need a firing mechanism void for the message handler, and we will put that in here also. And this method is going to take one argument, which will be the message. Now what we're going to do is, the first thing we want to do whenever we want the class to say that something has happened that requires a message to be sent out, is we want to check whether or not anyone's listening for these messages. So